Hi everyone, this is Heather Lawton from the Flourish.Academy. This is episode 546 and we are going to talk a little bit about comparison today and imposter syndrome. Although we have absolutely covered these things in the past, it's worth talking about again because so many photographers struggle with it. And if you're new around here, make sure you please check out the Flourish Academy podcast and listen to the episodes that we release every Tuesday. We also have something called Flourish in 5, which are 5-minute brief episodes that you can listen to on any podcast player, and behind the scenes videos are available on our YouTube channel. Just search for the Flourish Academy. But my friend Carolyn recently posted inside of the Flourish Academy membership group. That's where we have all of our courses. And she said, oftentimes I look at the posts in this group and I really contemplate whether or not it's for me. I feel as though I am nowhere near as good of a photographer as a lot of you. But this past weekend, I had the beautiful opportunity to capture these pictures of my sister-in-law, and I'm so proud of how far I've come in the last 7 years as a photographer, and with the help of Heather's videos, my editing has gotten so much better. And Carolyn posted these beautiful photos that she had taken, which, by the way, Carolyn, your sister-in-law would not have unless you took them. So holding yourself back because you're not sure if you're good enough deprives the world, your family, your friends, potential clients, of your images. I want to reframe this with you and with anyone else that is listening. By the way, I have 2 really good episodes on this on the podcast. Episode 73 is called Imposter Syndrome, and episode 75 is How to Gain Confidence. I'll post those in the links below, but make sure you check those out. Okay, you said you look at the post in the group and contemplate whether it's not for me. How could looking at someone else's work dictate whether or not something is for you? If you love something and you have a passion for it, it is for you, regardless of what anyone else is doing. I want you to really think of that. Say, okay, my job as a coach inside of these programs is to get people to look at things in a way that they never saw before. Like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I like to reframe. And you said, when you look at posts in our group, you contemplate whether or not it's for you. Okay, well, let's say this group didn't exist. Let's say you didn't look at the photos. Would you still think that about photography? Or did you just love photography and you want to do it and you touch the lives of people that you photograph? So does it matter where you're at in this imaginary hierarchy of photographers that you have created? No, it does not matter. You love photography, you have a passion for it. I want you to start working from the inside out, where you create what you want rather than reacting to what's going on around you. So you look at other photographers, you compare yourself and you feel badly. And that comparison will just kill you because there's always going to be somebody better than you. But what if it's not about them? It's not about other photographers. It is never about other photographers. I actually have a story about this. I've shared this in the group before, but I used to photograph for an organization called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Look them up, nowilaymedowntosleep.org. It's a group of photographers that volunteer to photograph newborns, usually newborns or very young infant babies in NICUs who probably will not survive whatever ailment they have. And we volunteer, we take photos, we put these photos either in a private gallery to download or a USB drive, and we give them to the grieving parents who are about to lose their child. It is a beautiful, wonderful organization, and I highly recommend you check it out. I served them for many, many years. In one particular shoot, I was at our children's hospital in our city, and it was around 1:30 a.m. And if you know me, I actually go to bed around 8:30, and if you wake me up at 11, I think it's the middle of the night. So 1:30 a.m. is just way out of my comfort zone. But of course, you're in a hospital, you're photographing grieving parents, you're not thinking of yourself, right? You're thinking of these people who are suffering. And as I was driving home, and actually what had happened was a few hours prior to that, I was photographing a baby in Children's Hospital. I was getting ready to leave, and Sister Lisa approached me and she said, there's another one. Could you stay? And that had never happened, where I had photographed 2 babies who were about to pass at the same time. And I said, yes, of course. So that's why I ended up staying that late. And as I was driving home, it occurred to me how good I felt, like fulfilling that I was able to do something like that, and how I was not in the least bit concerned about the quality of those photos, because I wasn't worried about you. I was not photographing the last moments of these infants to impress other photographers. Do you hear what I'm saying? I wonder if the photos you are taking of your sister-in-law on this beautiful maternity shoot or anything else, you're then posting them to impress us, to impress other photographers. But what if we never saw them? What if that group didn't exist? What if it was just you and your sister-in-law and you were photographing her maternity and you just delivered those photos? You clearly are proud of these images, as you should be. They're beautiful. You love them. She loves them. What does anything else matter? And why does it have to be in a hierarchy of who's a better photographer and who's a worse photographer? That's just something you've made up in your head. So as I'm driving home in the middle of the night, truly the middle of the night, I'm thinking, what if I shot all of my weddings, all of my sessions, as if I was only doing it for the client? Because in that case, the only people seeing those photos were going to be the parents, maybe some extended family members, and sometimes not even the parents. In fact, I would counsel parents, I would not offer, maybe not the right word. I would talk with parents, and I would say, when they were hesitant to get the photos, and I would say, why not just get the photos, and if you don't want to ever look at them, you don't have to, but you'll have them. Because in the future, it might be helpful in your grieving process. So why don't we just, so there are instances where it's possible that no one has seen the photos I've taken except for me. So I want to make sure, obviously, I want to make sure that I get photos that are sharp and in focus and well edited. But if it's just for the client and no one else, doesn't matter where you sit in comparison to anyone else. Those photos of those babies, these photos of this maternity shoot would not exist unless you and I took them. So why would we ever even consider or contemplate not doing this because somebody is better than us? That's actually, may I be honest, really, really selfish, because you are only concerned about you and where you fit in and not focused on delivering photos to your clients that otherwise would not have those images. So in this case of your sister-in-law, these beautiful maternity photos, you guys can check them out in the membership. Beautiful. She wouldn't have them unless you did it. And I'm glad that you pushed yourself maybe past your comfort zone and did it anyway. So I don't ever want any of you to ever question whether or not photography is for you, because it absolutely is. If you love it, it is 100% for you. It wouldn't be on your heart if it wasn't. You have the passion, you want to learn, you are excited to embrace the knowledge, to grow, then don't worry about what other people are doing, what other photographers specifically are doing. You know what I always say? When I was shooting weddings full time, I was like, well, photographers don't pay my mortgage. They're not paying your mortgage, okay? Your clients are. So I would just think of, like, I would put some tunnel vision on and I would be inspired by other photographers, but I would focus on my clients. I would not focus on myself, because that just makes you feel badly. And I would not focus on other photographers. If you don't feel great about where you're at, ask yourself, what am I focused on? Oh, I'm focused on me. I'm focused on my lack. I'm focused on how much I need to learn. I'm focused on what other photographers think. Of course you're going to be miserable, because again, there will always be someone better. But if you are focused on producing your best photos for this client or this friend or family member, then that would just, Oprah said this once. I heard this, I can't remember exactly how she said it, because I do a lot of speaking, or at least I did. And she said, if you are about to go on stage, I can't remember how she said it, and you're nervous, it's because you're selfish. You're thinking of yourself. You're not thinking of how you're going to serve others or what you're going to offer. You're just worried about how you look. And that's not going to serve you. So that could be part of what's happening here. Okay, so then you photographed this and you said, I had this opportunity and you loved it and she loved it. And I'm just wondering if there are other opportunities out there for you that you are actually blocking from coming in because you're not open and receptive to the fact that you belong here and that you deserve to be here and that you can be a photographer and you should pursue this. And however far you take it or not is completely up to you, but has, again, nothing to do with the hierarchy of who's a better photographer compared to whom. I mean, you might think someone's a better photographer, but somebody might think you are the better photographer. Someone's always going to be better than you. Someone's always going to be worse. Therefore, it doesn't matter. And I wanted to address that along with this question. Not a question, well, is it a question? My friend Jennifer had posted around the same time. She said, I need some encouragement. I have been wanting to dive deeper in photography, but I'm not sure I'm good enough. Okay. Everybody sucks in the beginning. I was terrible. My photos were awful. I mean, they were out of focus, not sharp, motion blur, terrible composition, horrible editing, Lightroom didn't exist. Terrible, horrible. But I loved photography and I knew I wanted to get better and I had confidence that I could learn it and I could figure it out. And with enough practice, I would get better. So maybe you don't feel like you're good enough, but could you just, instead of saying that, could you just put the word yet on the end of that? I'm not good enough yet. I haven't learned that yet. You will grow and learn and get better. It's just, are you willing to embrace? Was I willing to embrace the fact that I sucked? And the answer was yes. I knew I was terrible. I was not delusional. I knew the photos were not good. But I also knew that I would improve. Are you willing to embrace that you're not there yet, but you know that you're getting better? And again, it's this imaginary scale that you guys are making up, this hierarchy. It's just what we do to fit in. I get it. But okay, and you just had surgery and you're off your job for about 6 weeks. I'd really love to improve a lot so that I can do this full time. We can make that happen. Where should I start? Any ideas? I feel like I learned settings on my camera when someone shows me. These are a few of my shots. Okay, yes, you can learn. Watch some videos and join some local groups, whether you're in this area or any area. Oh, hi, Michelle. She says, I have to get the courage to start charging more than $40 so I can keep doing photography. Yes, okay, so what would that look like for you? How will you know when you have the courage? And what will you do? What would you do if you did have the courage? Hi, Kim. Happy Sunday. It was this rare Sunday appearance for me. Yeah, I don't usually do videos on Sunday. I was just feeling very inspired by some of these posts, and I really wanted to encourage everyone to just continue to pursue their passion and feel good about it. And this, not charging what you're worth is just silly. And maybe you don't know your worth or you don't understand it, but how much money did you invest in your gear? And we have a free pricing class at the Flourish.Academy where I talk about the psychology of pricing. It's called Pricing 101. We also have our Pricing for Profitability course inside of the membership. I highly recommend you watch both of those, but I think you will be really surprised when you watch the free Pricing 101 video by what I say about pricing. Because who knows what's appropriate and what makes sense for you and your market and your experience. So why not just make it up and make it so that you feel good about it? Do you feel good leaving your house, spending hours on a shoot, editing for hours for $40? Now listen, when you're starting out and you're shooting things, maybe you're not getting paid because you want experience. That's fine and that's different. Okay, Michelle says, I wouldn't have to have a real paying job. Having 2 other jobs is taking so much of my editing time. Right, what would it look like if you had the courage to leave those jobs and jump into photography full time? I'll tell you what it would look like. Everything would explode for you because you wouldn't have a plan B. You would just jump in and make it happen. And it's funny to me when you say a real paying job. Question, is what I do not real in a paying job? Because the way that sounded to me is like you're telling yourself a story that unless you're working a corporate real paying job, that this isn't real. I'm actually a very real person sitting here and I make real money and I make really good money photographing, and you can too. And it is very real. I assure you, just ask my accountant when you look at the taxes. Very real. I am paying very real taxes. Okay, Kim says, when you have family and friends asking you to take pictures of them, you're ready. Yeah, when you love doing it, you're ready. That's it. Bingo. When you love doing it, You are ready. Let people pay you. It's their decision, not yours. So if you don't want to charge $40 and you want to charge $100, tell them it's $100. It's up to them whether they pay it or not. And just detach from it. Don't get all tied up and, oh, they didn't hire me, it must not be worth it. Maybe they don't want to spend it. Maybe they don't value it. That's up to them, not me. I just set a price that I feel good about. I put it out there. It's their decision. I'm not forcing anyone, and I'm not, certainly not, attaching my identity to whether or not they hire me. If they do, that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. So you need to kind of remove yourself from that. Yes, Michelle, we are our own worst critics. Sometimes we need to look from the outside in, look at things in a different perspective. Yes, for sure. And it is not up to you. It is up to people whether or not they choose to hire you. All I need you to do it, you and Jen and Carolyn from these posts I'm referencing in the membership, all I need you ladies to do is just continue shooting and putting your photos out there and just believe that it's possible for you. You will improve, you will get better. And be careful with the comparison thing. Again, I want you guys to listen. Episode 73 and episode 75 of the podcast, I talk about these things because there's a difference between comparison and inspiration. If you look at somebody else's work, or you're in the group and you look at people and you feel badly about yourself, that's obviously comparison, and it's very negative and it's not serving you. So stop doing it. If you look at someone else and you think, oh man, I want to go grab someone in my camera and try that, and you're inspired and it makes you feel good and it serves you, that's a good thing. I mean, comparison can take on two forms. Comparison can be, I'll never be that good. I'm such a loser. I don't know how to do that, which obviously does not serve you. But the flip side to that is sometimes you can compare yourself and say, well, at least I'm better than them, which is pretty prideful, but also does not serve you. So when you're looking at other photographers, I want you to ask yourself, check in with your emotions. Like, how am I feeling? This gets into the woo-woo a little bit. Am I feeling badly about myself? Okay, I'm in comparison and imposter syndrome. I'm in this trap, episode 73, hello. Or am I feeling inspired? Like, wow, I can do that. Also, if I'm feeling badly, is it because I'm focused on what I lack, what I don't know, or how far I have to go, or how much I have to learn? Why not look at it like an adventure? There's so much more to uncover, and it's really fun. So could you focus on the adventure and the passion that you have for photography, and the people that want to hire you or ask you to take their photos? Focus on them and stop focusing on yourself. When you are focused on yourself and your lack, or you are focused on where you're at in this imaginary hierarchy that you've made up, you will continue to be miserable. And I will not feel sorry for you if you have this information. But now that you know better, I expect you to do better. We're not going to eliminate those feelings. They're always going to be there, but could we just bring them down a notch? Could we get this comparison and I want to quit, from a level 9 down to a level 8 or 7, just so you can put yourself out there and take the photos? I mean, you understand that if you don't take the photos that you're supposed to be taking, you are depriving the world of potentially a very precious gift. Like, for instance, if someone passes away, the first thing, we had a member recently contacted me privately to help her edit a photo for her sister's obituary. Her sister died extraordinarily, unexpectedly, in the most tragic freak accident you could ever imagine. The very first thing they did was look for the photos. She sent me a photo. She said, could you remove the background? Absolutely. Okay, what if the person who took that photo, maybe that last photo of her sister, had thought they weren't good enough, so they didn't take it? So then that photo didn't exist, and that family, that grieving family, did not have that photo. Stop thinking about yourself. It's selfish. You're worried about you. You're not thinking about what you might provide for a family in their time of grief, or even, beyond grief, just the legacy of that family. If you aren't doing it, you are depriving the world, and that's very, very selfish. And I don't believe that's what you were meant to do. I believe if you are watching this video, you must on some level love photography. And if you do, you deserve to be here. You are meant to be here. And maybe you're not where you want to be yet. Maybe you're not there yet, but you can get there. You learned how to read at some point. Some people say, I don't know, my photos just won't get any better. I don't know how to edit, and on and on. And they'll be standing there telling me this whilst holding their Nikon D850. And I'll say, well, at some point you figured out how to turn that camera on, okay, which makes you a winner. And then you figured out how to use it, press the button, and maybe even change some of the settings. So you're telling me you can figure out a DSLR camera, which is much more than a camera. It's very much a computer system inside of a camera body. You learned how to use something like that, and you're telling me you don't think you can get better or improve? Or you can't, oh, I can't learn Lightroom. I don't understand Photoshop. But you learned that camera, which means you can probably read. And if you can read and you can watch videos and you can practice, then you can learn more. I fail to see the problem. The only problem is that you are stuck, focused on yourself and where you're not at yet. And again, in this hierarchy of comparison. And it's just really dangerous. You are unique. If you're focused on you and your client, don't shoot for us. Don't shoot for other photographers to see. I want you to think of the story of Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. I was shooting 100% for maybe 2 people on the entire planet to see those photos, and it was those parents. And when I thought of it that way, I wasn't here to those photos. I was not taking those photos to post them to impress you. Not at all. I was taking those photos to preserve a legacy for grieving parents. If you can just flip your brain to focus on others instead of yourself, I promise you it will put you in a different position. Jessica says the podcast is life-changing. Thank you. I don't even listen to podcasts, but I listen to the FA podcast. Thank you. Thank you. We have new episodes coming out. We have the Flourish in 5 starting this week. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be video. Please share the podcast, please, in your photography groups with your photography friends, especially this episode. These 2 I'll post below. Episode 73 on imposter syndrome and episode 75 on how to gain confidence. I think everyone needs to hear those. I hope that you guys found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.